Hello there everybody, Jordan back again with another review, and this is going to be for the 1981 horror classic, The Evil Dead. And this is directed by Sam Raimi and stars Bruce Campbell. A group of students go to stay in a cabin in the woods and find a mysterious book that brings demonic evil forces into play. Well guys, I decided to go back and watch these movies, and I thought I'd review them on the channel because we do have Evil Dead Burn coming just in a few days really. So I thought I'd review the first 4 Evil Dead films. I've already reviewed Evil Dead Rise on this channel, which I'll leave down below if you want to go and check it out in my Evil Dead playlist. I'm going to be doing 2, 3 and the remake. Of course, I will be doing Evil Dead Burn as well. So going back to this one, this is a horror movie that I watched first when I was about 15 years old, and I thought it was quite scary. I was kind of just, you know, sort of viewing horror movies for the first time there, and some of the demonites and stuff really got under my skin. But the more I've watched this movie over the years, it's sort of come down a little bit. It was on my ranking in last place last time I ranked these movies, but the last couple of times I've watched it, it kind of grew on me a little bit. I done a Sam Raimi ranking at the start of the year, and it really grew on me then, and this time I think I enjoyed it even more. So let's get into it. But just a quick heads up guys, there will be spoilers ahead for this movie. Now I really like how we get a tone of creepiness and the horror vibe set very early on in this movie. It only takes about 10 minutes before we realise that we're in a sort of 80s classic horror movie there, because we see these characters go into a cabin in the woods, which is, you know, a place where a lot of horror movies, especially after this one, took place. But we see our characters rock up to this cabin, and there's like a chair swinging from left to right, and as soon as one of our main characters picks up the key from the top of the door, the chair just stops swinging there. And we also have like this fog and this mist pumped around the cabin here and through the woods, and it just gives off that feeling of, wow, shit's about to go down here. But it just has this look to it as well. Like, it looks like this place has got some evil skeletons in the closet, and a lot of bad stuff has happened here over the years. You know, something is surrounding this cabin. And a lot of that is helped by the direction of Sam Raimi. But Sam Raimi and his talent is all on display here, and it showed why he went on to be one of the best filmmakers and one of the biggest horror directors and directors in general of all time. I mean, this guy is basically just showing what he is capable of from the off. I mean, when we see the car basically just pulling into the cabin, you got that overhead shot there where it's kind of a feeling of dread just slowly following the car. Simple things like that just make this absolutely work. And he's got loads of great little sound cues that he does when he's directing these scenes. Like, a window will open and we'll just hear a big gush of wind fly around the cabin there, and it just gives up more of the horror vibe really. He just gets the tone and the feeling and the atmosphere down to a T with the way he directs the film and the way he makes it sound. There's also other scenes where we are basically just, our characters will find the Book of the Dead, which I'll talk about again in a minute. But when they open it, you know, it just zooms in on some pages there. You know, it just really thinks, wow, this is the thing that's causing all the horror that's surrounding this damn place. So Sam Raimi, I mean, it's a wonderfully directed film, but this is him just basically saying, I've arrived, I've got my foot in the door now, and people are going to take notice of me. I mean, when we're just seeing characters talking in a room, he will put the camera outside the window, film a couple having a conversation, then move to the next window and we'll see another couple of characters having a conversation there, and then move to the next window and we'll see one of our female characters kind of just doing her hair and everything. But it's all done with a sort of eerie tone really, with the score in the background and everything. We also have a conversation with Ash and his girlfriend, and it's kind of zooming in on their eyeballs there just to give a little bit more sense of, you know, these characters need to be a little bit wary of what's going on, even though they're just having a simple conversation. The Dutch angles he throws in everywhere. But my biggest sort of compliment I can give him for the direction here is giving the demon force a character just by using the camera. And what I mean by that is we see this demon force basically running around the woods from a first-person camera point of view. It's trying to get in the cabin, and it's basically just a guy running with a camera. I don't know if it is Sam Raimi himself or one of his camera crew, but he's basically just running through the woods here, and it's a character. The Demon Force becomes a character just by them camera shots, and it's masterfully done. He squeezed every single bit of juice he could out of this small budget that he had. It's even more impressive that he had such a small budget, because I think a lot of filmmakers back then could not have pulled off anything half as good as this with an even bigger budget. So kudos to Sam Raimi once again. I just want to throw that in there, how good the directing is in this movie. I really like how we just have a simple way of bringing these demons back. Basically, we have these characters finding a tape recording and the Book of the Dead. And this is where we first see this damn thing that is involved in basically all of these movies, where this is the thing that is going to bring this evil force back by playing this tape recorder and having the Book of the Dead there. Such a cool little simple retro horror concept, and I absolutely love it. And the Book of the Dead has become a staple in horror now, hasn't it? I really love when shit just hits the fan here and these demonites that we've come to know and love in this franchise basically come to fruition. I mean, there is a great moment in this movie when we first see our first demonite, and it's one of my favorite moments in horror history, to be honest. Like, not just in this film series where the characters are playing cards and this voice in the background, one of our characters will start saying, you know, 3 of hearts, Jack of clubs, and then the voice gets a little bit more creepy and sinister, and she turns around and their face is all changed into this demonite. And that's the moment when I was a teenager that really made me jump out my skin. But man, what a wonderful moment that is.
8 of spades, 2 spades, Jack of diamonds, Jack of clubs.
I really love how we slowly see each of our characters in this movie start to turn into these damn things. And they all have their own villainous personalities, but they just say the most sinister and horrible things, like they're going to kill people and we're going to get you in the end and everything like that. But I love the design of these damn things. It may seem a little bit dated to people now, but that's the heart of it to me. That's why, you know, this movie just got so much personality because of the practical effects and the makeup design on these demonites. I don't know if you've got to be a certain age to appreciate it, but I look at them and go, man, I would prefer this type of design over some of the stuff we see today. They just look absolutely horrifying, and Sam Raimi, once again, and the makeup and effects team pouring their heart and soul into the look of these damn things. They're trying to get them to look as evil as possible, and I think they've done a great job. But yes, there are some great practical effects, not just on the demonites, but there's actually a scene in this movie where someone is sexually assaulted by a tree, and I don't think that helped in this being a video nasty. Yes, this movie was actually a video nasty, believe it or not, where the UK had a list of movies that they wanted to ban because they thought that children were copying these damn things and, you know, blaming society for the violence and everything. They blamed it on the movies. And Evil Dead apparently was one of the worst films that you could see. And apparently I wasn't alive back in 1981 or 1983 when it came to the UK, I believe. But you had to be one of the cool kids in school. You had to watch this movie. So I believe everyone was talking about this on the playground and everything. But yeah, this tree scene is a little bit strange. But I can't help but appreciate the damn thing because the way Sam Raimi directs it once again. I mean, just having these branches wrap around this woman and everything. How this guy at the age of 21 years old made that happen, I will never know. It's such confident filmmaking that, man, it's kind of like a masterful quality that you either have or you don't. That is only carried on more into the third act. I mean, there is blood on screen everywhere. There's a moment where blood is spraying and it just fills up the camera lens there and the whole screen becomes red. And I was like, man, that's fucking awesome. There are eyeballs being popped and blood is pouring everywhere. You know, there is just everything. The demonites being dismembered left, right, and center with axes and everything. It's just fantastic to watch. If you're a gore-hound, this third act's got you covered. And I mean, a lot of the other movie has as well, but that third act is where it's at. And it's just signature Sam Raimi. You know, he has gone on to bring a lot of this stuff that I've talked about in this review into his films. I actually watched Send Help, that just came out this year, and he's got the first person camera view happening there in that movie. And blood, you know, all over Rachel McAdams' face there, like when she fights that boar. We've got characters here with blood all over them. It's just signature Sam Raimi, and I really like how he's gone on to put that into his movies. He's never forgot his roots, even when he's doing Marvel stuff and everything. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I absolutely love the blood and gore on screen here. It just absolutely works a treat, and it's not just a signature Sam Raimi, but a signature of this film franchise as well. Now, I do have a little bit of a mixed thought with this film. I do really like Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, in this movie. I think it's awesome to see him take on the demonites and everything. You want him to kick ass. You want him to survive this damn thing. And he is more interesting than the other characters, which I'm going to speak about in a minute. But it's not the Ash you know and love. Once you've seen Evil Dead 2 and 3, he kind of feels like a cardboard sort of personality a little bit compared to what he can be. Like I said, he's not a bad character, but he's just a character that does the things, does the job that any other character would do in these horror movies. There isn't much personality. He's still likable, but like I said, once you've seen them sequels, this is the worst version of Ash that we've had in this Evil Dead film series. But I still get behind him and stuff. I still get invested and still want him to survive. Now, that does bring me on to the other characters. It just isn't enough time in this film to get to know them. And even when we are getting to know them, they are not interesting characters whatsoever. They don't really bring anything to the table. They're just there to be turned into demonites. Now, that's not a slant on the cast members, because they do a great job once they are turned into the demonites. But in fact, it's actually a sort of positive if you look at it that way, because they've got to do sort of split personalities, really, and play two different types of characters. But I just don't think they bring anything to the table in the first kind of 20 minutes of this movie. And that's what a lot of horror films suffer from. A lot of characters are just there to be cannon fodder. And this one is no different, really. Now, even though I love the practical effects, the blood and gore on screen, and what Sam Raimi does here, I will say in the last 5 minutes where the demonites start to disintegrate because the evil has been beaten, it's real bad stop motion or claymation sort of effects there. And it looks, you can just tell Sam Raimi is doing everything in reverse, and it looks bad. Like, it looks very dated. At the time, maybe it was fine, but watching that right now, it's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. It just has to be said. Now, I get he didn't have the budget and everything, so I am willing to give him a pass, but I still can't do this review without mentioning it. However, guys, this is the film that, like I said at the start of the review, has just grown on me so much over time. I think as an adult now, and the way I look at film, I can just appreciate what has gone into this movie. The way Sam Raimi has made this actually work with so little budget, and the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into it to create the heart of the movie. Yeah, it's one I enjoy watching and just thinking to myself, how did they do that? Maybe they did it this way. And it just fascinates me that such a young filmmaker made this happen, and it's gone on to become a horror classic and still loved even more to this day. And when it comes to the Evil Dead franchise as well, I definitely prefer it when it goes pure horror. I don't mind the horror comedy, but when it goes pure horror, mostly like this film, there are sprinkles of comedy, I prefer it this way. Okay, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and make this movie now. I'm going to give The Evil Dead an 8 out of 10, a very respectable 8 out of 10. Solid movie. It may not work for you if you're a newcomer coming into this movie, because it can feel a little dated here and there in places. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And I feel like it's one of them where I can just watch anytime now. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for The Evil Dead is that there were actually 13 cast and crew members lodging in the cabin that you see in the movie while this movie was being made, and it started to get a little bit tense, and people were sort of at each other's necks here and there, and living conditions were actually terrible. And by the end of the shoot, they were actually burning furniture just to try and stay warm. So again, like I said, it pure blood, sweat and tears have gone into making this movie, and all of the cast members and crew, big thumbs up for making it happen. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Don't forget to check out my future Evil Dead reviews and my Evil Dead Rise review. That'll all be in the link down below. Thanks so much. You all take care. What do you think of Evil Dead? Please do let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video.